Hi, this is Francis Jeffrey coming to all of you from Bolo Road in South Bend, Indiana, with my first telephoto picture ever taken. Of course, I've never used a telephoto lens before, and so I don't have any experience with it at all, and I've got only limited experience with manual focus, and this lens only uses manual focus. So I've had to do the best I can to manually focus the image, and I figured I would give an example of the building that I'm trying to photograph, which is actually not in South Bend, Indiana, because it's on the campus of Notre Dame University, which is in its own jurisdiction. And so if somebody were to send mail to Notre Dame University, they would send it to Notre Dame, Indiana, instead of South Bend, Indiana. Now, unfortunately, this picture is going to wind up being very grainy because the only technically proper, quote unquote, exposure that I could get was if I used ISO 3200, because even though this camera is on a tripod, the wind is blowing, and because of how long the lens is, it's moving the lens, and so I'll get camera shake if I use a shutter speed which I would consider to be a long exposure shot. And so now I'm going to have to wait for this bus to get out of the way. Darn it. Oh well, at least we now have a couple of seconds or so to enjoy the beautiful scenery here in the suburban area on the north side of South Bend, Indiana. Okay, now there's another vehicle that is in my way, and this is part of the nature of being a street photographer. Sometimes you want a shot which has a lot more to do with architecture, in which case vehicles and pedestrians become a distraction, and so you have to just simply wait for them to get out of your way. And sometimes the shot that you want to get compositionally needs to have people or vehicles in it, in which case you have to wait for those sorts of things to get in the picture. Okay, I'm assuming that as soon as this next bus gets out of the way here, I'll have a good picture of architectural formations in this building. Now, by looking at my LCD screen, you could see why taking a picture right now would be a bad idea. Alright, I just need to check and make sure that I have the self timer on so I'm not touching the camera as I do this. Now, I don't know if this building is entirely in focus, but I think it is in focus to the point where I could get it in focus, if that makes any sense to all of you. So here we go, my first ever telephoto lens picture taken. Now, unfortunately, it is garbage collection day on this side of town, and I did the best I could to find an angle where that receptacle that you can see on the left side of the street, way down the street from here, was not in the picture, but the best I could do was having it only about 90% out of the picture. And that was the best I could do because I wouldn't be able to accomplish that totally without walking onto private property over here. And so the only way for me to get rid of that totally now is if I go into Photoshop and crop that portion of the picture out, which was what I was planning on doing, because there is also a distracting street sign which is covered by the picture settings here, which are displayed on the screen, which of course aren't in the actual image. And so the picture will be edited soon and on my 500px profile soon. So if you go to 500px.com and look up South Bend, Indiana, you will most likely come across my profile. If you want me to be more exact, I'll give you my profile screen name, which is photographer by nature, all separate words with a capital P, and then in parentheses Francis Jeffrey with a capital F and J, and then after the parentheses there's a period. Now the search on 500px is not case sensitive, and so it technically doesn't really matter, but that is what my screen name is on there. And so I'm not sure at all as to whether or not this is gonna be a good image, because I can't tell for certain whether or not the building in the way background is in focus. But this is a historic moment for me, and so no matter what, I needed to share it. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you either on YouTube or 500px giving me feedback and like button clicks on my images. Thanks. Bye.